Hey everyone, we're back here at Greene Street Joinery. Jeff and Rob.
How are you?
And we're talking about clamps. And the nice thing is, this isn't sponsored by a clamp manufacturer. So we're going to get an honest review, and hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a clear idea of what clamps you need, and more importantly, what clamps you don't. So let's just go ahead and I'll hand you a clamp, and we can just talk about it and see what you think. So this is actually my Jorgensen clamp, and it's funny because you guys have an older one here. Is this something that you use in the shop?
I'd say this is probably the one that we reach for last, right?
Yeah.
We have, you know, and we'll get into the other clamps, but we have a bunch of other clamps, and we have, I don't know what, about half a dozen of these, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe 8 or 10. These are what we go to very last. It's like if we're doing a glue up of an entire kitchen or something, of doors, this is the last one to enter the rig.
Why?
They're very heavy.
Yeah, they are heavy. I was thinking that.
And this one is significantly more heavy than this one. And you know, Rob was pointing out some of the differences between, you know, these two. This one being probably what, 20 years old.
Yeah.
And this one, I don't know. How long have you had these?
Maybe 2 years.
Yeah, and you could see how little it got used in 20 years.
Yeah.
When I picked this up, I really liked them initially. You know, I was comparing it to the Bessie.
You're like, yeah, this is heavy.
And, you know, it's got good performance, but it's just too heavy. And that's one of the practical things that you really have to take into consideration. You're doing a big glue up, it's got 5 or 6 clamps on it. Forget it.
That's exactly my thought. And I've had them now for about 2 years, and I've used them a few times, but I don't reach for them all that often.
No, it's not that it doesn't work that well, but yeah, I mean, look at the size of the screw on the new one compared to the old one.
The Acme thread on this is probably like, what, 5/8, and this is 1/2 inch, 7/16.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always saving a little bit of money, cutting on the materials any way you can.
You know, the beams, seams, pretty close.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty similar.
Did they say where they're made? It's not clear usually.
Yeah. This one's stamped on the side. This one,
Made in USA.
yeah. This one doesn't say, so we know. We know what
Let's put that one. Rob, can you put that one right on the ground so we can keep the table free?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So then we got this one.
Yep. So this is.
That's the tried and true.
Yeah, for a long time, this was our main clamp, the Bessie K body. Probably about, those were both 24s, about half the weight. And this is a German one, which I don't think that exists anymore. But
No.
the thing I like about these are that they stand up. And the Jorgensen will do the same thing. But when you have a glue up, you know, you can stand things up.
Yeah, that's definitely nice.
Yeah, especially if you have like 20 doors or something like that, you can just line them up.
Yep.
So that's a definite stay. If you're going to divide a pile into stay and go, that's a definite stay.
It's got a purpose.
Yeah.
And we have a favorite that we'll get to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like, would we replace these given, you know, if somebody was just like, here's $10,000 to buy clamps, these would be gone.
Well, let's talk about what you would replace them with then. Okay, so this blue clamp, this is a Rockler, this is one of mine.
Yep.
I know you guys used to have those. I
Yep.
have my issues with these clamps. And then this is the Dubuque, and I just picked up 4 of these, basically after hearing about them from you guys.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can see, this isn't for the camera, I'm just having trouble moving that around, but these are, this is like basically the knockoff version of this. These have been around for, I don't even know how long, but they've been around. It's an aluminum, I don't know what they call this, like a box beam clamp, maybe? Yeah. They call them universal clamps, which I don't know what that is insinuating, but
it's deceptively simple in design and execution.
So rather than having the the tightening mechanism on the movable side, it's on the fixed side. So you have these little detents that are, or detents, you might want to say, that are like 9/16 of an inch spacing. Was that
Inside joke.
Yeah.
I was listening to it. I heard it on the podcast yesterday.
So you can adjust these in those 9/16 increments, and then you tighten it down here.
Sure. And I noticed one of the differences, these are 9/16. This looks like it's almost an inch.
Yeah. Yep.
Saves time when you have to.
These don't seem quite as deep either, and they, for some reason, they put it on like these pipe clamp feet.
I actually like that. I
Yeah.
have to say I like that because it holds it off the ground a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But what I don't like about this clamp is, like, look it, I'm trying to turn this.
Right.
If you take your hands off, I'm gonna turn
Yeah.
the clamp.
This one, I do it with one
Yeah.
finger to
That
like get
makes-
some speed.
What do you think that material is? That aluminum?
I think, yeah, the whole thing's aluminum aside from this Acme thread.
All right.
We have some of these in the old shed that never even made the move.
Yeah.
And we took lots of stuff that is up in the what we call the attic, and we didn't even take them.
I know where they are because I
Yeah.
helped you do the move there.
Yeah.
In the
We went
shed,
over
right?
to the shed. Yeah, we don't need those. Now, when I got these, until recently, I always used them, and the main reason is they're nice and light.
They are.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do this with
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you can, but not easily.
Not us.
So that's a major plus, but they've definitely cheapened out here. And actually, Walter just broke 2 of these on me. I think he was probably turning a little bit too hard. He's only 23 years old. He's a pretty strong dude, but
You can see, the casting isn't as clean as this, and again, the thread, much more coarse.
for sure.
There's a lot more, I don't know what you would call that. The space between the threads is more, and the pitch of the threads is more.
Yeah.
Whereas these have they just run so nice.
So when you said you had a favorite, is this it?
This is it.
So when did you start using these?
We got turned on to these by our buddy Dino. If you ever seen the vac pad, it's that vacuum. Anyway, it's a tool for finish carpenters and cabinet makers and stuff. It's a vacuum pad that you can like suck stuff down to.
Okay.
It's got a lot of different uses, but he uses these, and he turned us on to them probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And like we said, if we could replace all the Bessies today with these, we would.
Even though the jaws are only maybe 1.5 inches?
Yeah, I mean, I found that the working area of the jaws on these parallel clamps is really only about the same size.
Yeah.
Because you get up here and it's not.
Yeah, I mean, because this is where all the clamping is happening.
that's true.
Even if you have something that's thick, this thing works by bending this way. The bar is actually what loads the clamps. So all the pressure is happening. There's more pressure towards the bar. So if you have something thick, it's really only clamping down here anyway.
Okay.
And we tend to try and alternate the clamps. So these are what, 2 inches, 1.5 inches? So if you have a 3-inch wide
Sure.
piece on both sides, then you're getting full coverage.
I got you.
And really, we're never working with anything that thick.
I just picked up 4 of these, and I have to say, they're the ones that I always reach for now. They're not cheap,
No.
but they're not. I don't even know what the Rocklers are, but I don't think they're that much more than the Rocklers. And if you're gonna buy clamps, I definitely think clamps are one of those one-time purchases.
Oh, yeah.
If you know enough, buy the best ones, because
Yeah.
you're only gonna save a couple of bucks. And then you're gonna have something that you enjoy using. And I mean, when I started, it was all the old pipe clamps,
Yeah.
which got really heavy, and they would bend. And these things are just a pleasure to use.
Locks.
I mean, these are made in Iowa. I don't know if any of the big name clamp brands are even making anything domestically anymore.
One thing we didn't talk about too is these will not turn your project black
Yep.
with the glue. That's another big plus.
Yeah, so like when you were here shooting the video about the doors, we clamped up as many of the doors as we could with these. We have, the 24s were too small, obviously. We're using the 36s. And even like going up to the 72s, because they're so light that putting a 72-inch clamp on a 30-inch door, it ends up sticking way out, but it doesn't become too heavy.
For sure.
And you can hold the clamp up like this at the top of the door and tighten it down. I don't even know if Bessie makes a 72-inch clamp, but there's no way you're one guy holding up a 72-inch clamp and clamping it down on a 30-inch door. But yeah, we ended up having to go into the Bessies, and I had to actually tape off the beams because with pine, it's it's going to have a clear finish. I didn't want to get that.
You're gonna get a big dark
iron
stain.
yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is this clamp appears to be more robust, like stronger, but this will close a joint up. I don't want to say twice as good as this,
No,
but
I would say,
Yeah.
maybe.
yeah.
I've been using them now for just a few months, and I've got nothing but good things to say about them.
Yeah.
Here's the oldie. This is what I first started with.
Yeah, I think everybody starts with that one.
This is what we always used. I worked at a place called the Woodworker, and it was just, you went and got some black pipe, got one end threaded, and then you bought the Pony Jorgensens here.
Yeah.
And as you can see, this one's probably 30 years old. It's got a little bend in it. The 36 ones I have have much bigger bends in them. And I'm gonna get rid of them all. They're just taking up a lot of space in the corner of the shed right now. But they have a purpose. What I did is I just went to one of the home stores and picked up 2 8-foot pipes, just so I have 2 8-foot clamps.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all I need, I think, as far as these go.
We have those in the shed too.
Yep.
So in case you need them, if you got an 8-foot glue up, you could.
And
Yeah.
you can, if you have both ends threaded, you can always get a coupler,
Yeah.
and you can have a 16-foot long clamp if you want.
I,
sure.
I mean, I've used them in that capacity where I've needed like 2 lengths of pipe clamped together.
So 2 to 4 long ones is all you need.
That's
In
it.
shop.
I mean, they're not heavy duty. Like you're not closing up any joints with them or anything.
And you use them so
when they're that
rarely.
long. When they're that long, you're gonna get this huge bend. And you risk. That's the thing about the Dubuques is they really don't bend until you crank down because it's that box shape. You really have to crank down, and at that point if you have to clamp that hard, something else is
Something's
going
wrong.
on. So you don't get that bend. If you're gluing up panels and stuff, you can end up with a really bowed panel.
For sure. So here's another Bessie, right?
Yeah.
Now I have a couple of these. I use these.
The old F clamp or bar clamp, I guess some people call them. This I think is another German Bessie.
Yeah.
These are great. We use these mostly for like jigging stuff up, or if you have a glue up and the ends are a little bit out like this, we might use it in that situation to get 2 boards flush in like an edge glue up.
Yeah. Right. Original Bessie. Yeah, we have a bunch of these, and as Jeff said, they're handy for like if you want to clamp something to the bench or something
Sure.
like that. And
I just used my exact same clamp, kind of creating a little fence for a stop block. And just because it has the deep jaws, you can get it underneath the table and
That's
on
it.
something.
We have a couple that have the 12-inch deep,
Yeah.
8-inch deep throat.
Ooh, nice.
Those are really nice.
yeah.
That's something you might want to pick up, or I
And
might
they're,
want to pick up.
the diameter of the handle on those is like twice this. This one thing, that where I think the Dubuque is really nice. You could see where if you look at almost any of these wooden handle clamps that we have, they all have a mark here where at one point we use channel locks to,
Wow,
because you can't get a great,
that's a big clamp.
you can't get a great grip on these if you really have to, like we said, there's something wrong if you have to do it like that, but sometimes you have to really crank down on it. And with the Dubuques, with that,
Butterfly, I think.
shaped handle, you get a lot of leverage, whereas with this, it's like turning a screwdriver. How hard can you really turn a screwdriver?
For sure. The one thing that I've been saying that I'm going to do for a couple of decades now is just get 2 wooden blocks, put a little epoxy on each end, so I always have a glue block, which I've never done. I can't see a downside of that.
No.
I mean, because this originally had a little red, soft thing like this one here. And the one thing I end
always
up,
come off.
they always do come off. I don't know if the epoxy would come off. I mean, if I grinded it a little bit.
Yeah. I've got a jar somewhere with a whole bunch of spare ones, brand new. I've tried gluing them on, epoxying them on.
Yeah, the problem is sticking to the plastic, I think.
Well, what about if you just put 2 little pieces of like 1/4-inch wood here, put the epoxy on both sides,
Oh, yeah.
then clamped it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all of
It's
like,
worth a shot.
it's all of like 5 minutes in the shop.
Something soft.
Good
you know, like
weekend
a
project.
soft wood.
I was
so you
thinking cherry for some
Yeah.
reason, a little piece of cherry in there. And that way, because a lot of times I'll be throwing, you know, if you're putting something together, like a tabletop, you're closing that gap.
Yeah.
First of all, you might want to use tape so the clamp doesn't stick to it, especially if you're using epoxy or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, we don't use those in any kind of situation where marring might be an issue, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
So when you're putting a tabletop together, if you had a little bit of a bow and you needed to close it.
Usually, you know, we're clamping where it's going to get trimmed off. Anyway.
Oh, there, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So this is a buy. This is something that you would keep.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You
Every
gotta have
shop
at
needs
least
some of these.
half a dozen or the.
I got 4 of these, and I mean, I'm just one guy in a small shop. That looks like something, I'd like to have 2 of those.
Well, that's what we have 2.
This
Yeah.
came with our sliding table saw, and you can see we painted right over it. When,
That came with a sliding table, so you
was-
didn't have one?
Well, we had 2 of them.
I had one that I bought for like $25 at like a garage sale. I saw it and I had to have it.
So now you have 3 because this one came with that saw?
So this one's a little crusty and it doesn't move as nice as the other ones, but
Yeah.
Little WD-40.
yeah.
These are great because of the deep reach.
Now, I used to have a bunch of these. This is the only one I have left. My friend Jim Smiley gave it to me when I was just getting into this stuff, maybe around 19 years old, and it came from Smiley Hardware in Pompton Lakes. And that's probably the only reason why I kept it, because it's, like, I don't know if it's sentimental value, but all the other Jorgensens, I just got rid of one day. I figured I'm not really using them anymore.
These are fun.
Yeah, Chicago. These I like to use.
Drill press.
Yep, to keep things square. You know, use it like the vise that you use for like drilling metal, but use it for wood. They're good for holding up doors. You know,
Oh,
you
that's
put
a good
Put
idea.
the door in here, and then this can sit on the floor, and it doesn't want to fall over if you have 2 of them.
Yeah, nice third hand kind of application.
Yeah.
So you have a few of these in the shop?
Yeah, we had a bunch, and then we got rid of.
I remember calling you guys maybe 3 years ago. I texted you a picture. Said, I'm getting rid of these. You want them?
We're like,
You're
we
like,
just
"No."
got rid of ours.
We just got rid of ours.
Yeah, this is a nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm keeping that one. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
got
definitely
the
a
deep
classic.
reach.
Yeah, these are good, you know, because you get pretty even pressure on these because of the, I guess, the dual adjustment. So you can, you know, you can clamp across the face of, you know, like let's say you were making a stave core door, you could clamp the veneer. I mean, you need a lot of them, but.
Did you always find that you would get an oil stain on your projects whenever you used one of these clamps?
Ours are pretty, I don't know where.
That was
No, ours are pretty raw wood looking.
even the raw wood looking ones I had would always leave some kind of a stain, so I always have to put like tape on the jaws or something to keep that from happening. These are staples. I use these. Anyone that you prefer, either brand?
I like these, but so when we did the salt boxes, we bought. I had 2 or 3 of these that I got at Workbench Con when it went down the same time as you. They were like in the little grab bag or whatever that they gave you, and they were great. They were really nice. I liked the way that they unlock here versus here for some reason. But we bought 30 or 40 of them.
Yeah.
For those boxes,
Yeah, they're over
and they slip. You know, so see this one?
That's not good.
Yeah.
The
And-
ratchet. Something's wrong with the ratchet in it.
Yeah, they'll some of them like this may slip here at 1.5 inches, but over here at 3/4, you know, it's a little bit different. So it's like they slip at certain points. So I haven't been as happy with these, but I do like the form factor and how they operate.
Yeah, that's kind of it's a deeper jaw.
Yeah.
This is sometimes a little.
I like that they're square. You know, you know, they stack up real neat next to one another.
But the ratchet's kind of, I want to make sure the camera's going. The ratchet is kind of, it's kind of like a don't buy for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, you have to sort of gauge your expectation.
But still, the ratchet not working, I mean,
Yeah,
that would frustrate me to no end.
Yeah, those I haven't had an issue with those.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Could be a symptom of, you know,
is this yours? Yeah, this is
Yeah.
yours. I didn't bring one of these with me.
these are new. and that's old, so maybe you buy a new one of these and it's just like that, you don't know.
I think with clamps, if you can get old ones, you're better off.
So we ended up, we didn't have enough of those, so we went to Harbor Freight and bought, I think, what, 100?
Yeah.
100 of their 6-inch clamps. So same size as this, throat-wise, but the clamp is like 2 or 3 times the size. So Rob's grabbing one. Yeah, maybe not quite 2 times, but it's a lot bigger and a lot bulkier. These are nice and thin, and
So that's a Harbor Freight?
yeah, so you can see how much bigger it is.
What do you like better?
Well, definitely these, but these don't slip.
Yeah.
Then why do you like,
None of
just because
have
these are so
failed.
awkward?
Yeah,
They are awkward.
and these leave a stain.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
They
Yeah.
do. On
So
the
how'd you get that
boxes.
off the boxes?
Sanded
Well,
the hell out of them.
yeah.
Did it go deep?
No, just,
No, we
just
just
like
had
a
to sand the
superficial,
box.
kind of like an oily little,
It's funny, you don't think about that stuff, and next you're like, oh my God, I'm losing some time here.
1,000 boxes. Luckily, they had to be they had to be sanded completely anyway. So
Yeah.
It's amazing how deep an oil stain can go though in raw wood sometimes.
yeah.
So this is something that I haven't used, but I see a lot of guys using them. I haven't done much trim work lately, but it looks like something I could definitely use. I don't even know the proper name for these.
These are Collins clamps because they're made by Collins Tool Company. So this is the little tool that you can use your fingers too. It's just not. It's a little awkward, and you have to use 2 hands. But these are for miters. So let's say this was a piece of miter casing. You can put it here, and it pinches together the.
Yeah, that's nice.
You know, the smaller the molding, obviously the more effective it is, because if this is a 4-inch wide piece of casing, you're only really clamping here. But yeah, these work nice.
And so the last one, I think we got this too,
Yeah.
which I haven't
Yeah,
used.
so this is a pinch dog. This is for butt joints. So let's say you wanted to clamp these together, you could hammer that in, and because of these tapers, it would actually pull them closer to the center.
So certain jobs that's gonna work, because obviously you don't wanna have holes in your,
Right. So like when we built that big fireplace surround, I think you saw
Yep.
it was like 11-inch wide molding. So we made the molding, and then it's literally just mitered. So I use these on the back,
okay.
you know, as it dried with biscuits and everything, to pull it tight.
So is this just another Bessie, or is this
It is. It's
anything different about this than what we talked about already?
It's a lot worse than.
I was gonna say, this,
it's sort of they marketed that as sort of like a light duty clamp, and I bought 8 of them because they were, when they first came out, they were really inexpensive, but they're just kind of like toys.
it feels like a toy.
It is. I mean, there's not much utility in the shop for
No.
something like that.
If you clamp this thing down full force, you can just like pull it right off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wanna make sure the camera's still running, because sometimes it clicks off.
All right.
Let's just pull the,
Want everybody up on
the 4 must-have clamps. Because if you're in a small shop,
Yeah.
you only really need 3 or 4. And we'll put the 3 in the order of what we need them, or what are best.
Yeah. Which one?
So these will be our top 4.
The Jorgensen that way.
I mean, I hesitate, but what about if we had?
What about the wooden clamp? Because I'd rather have that over 2.
Really? I was just talking shit about those.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't get used as much as that, but
It'll do something that the other clamps won't.
yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna forgo the other Bessie.
Well, this will do just about everything that the Bessie will do.
Yeah.
Okay,
This does something that
a little bit different.
the other clamps don't do. This, same thing with this. This is
Yeah.
like really a quickie, you know.
But maybe not that model, because it's kind of a failure.
Yeah.
So something maybe a little more robust than
Maybe here,
that.
put the Irwin.
Maybe the quick grip is better. So there you have it. If you need,
This one's made in the USA, it says right here.
so that's an older clamp.
Yeah, that,
USA, Germany.
I mean, you hate to say it, but, you know, you gotta look for where things are manufactured if you know, to kind of balance your expectations of quality and longevity and all, and performance and all that other stuff. it makes a difference.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, so the Dubuque's gonna handle all your panel, glue up, stuff like that. You know, when you're joining, when you're gluing up your joinery, whether it's, you know, table legs to an apron, something like that. You got all your fast stuff, you have to route an edge of something, you just clamp it down real quick and route it. You know, this will do all the things on the drill press we were talking about, holding stuff up. This is good too, you know, you can clamp this to the table like this. If you need to hold a lot of parts vertical for an operation, then you can just clamp it down real quick, do your operation and swap them out. And then, you know, these are great for fixturing and you know, when you really have to hold something down to a table, you know, where this doesn't cut it.
It's got good reach.
So let's imagine that you just got a small shop. You're a hobbyist, I guess. I'm gonna say 8 4-footers. Or what do you think of the Dubuque to get started?
It's hard to say. I mean, our most common size is typically the 24.
Okay.
That's for like gluing up doors and stuff like that. If you plan on making tables, then you're gonna want a 4-footer. Definitely 4-footers.
Yeah, how many 24-inch clamps do we have? The Dubuques, the Bessies.
35, 40 maybe.
Yeah, we have a lot of 24s.
So
But sometimes we'll use
if
them
you're starting a small shop, maybe 4 24s and 4.
Yeah,
I would actually go 4 24s and 6 48s because the 6 48s are gonna give me a tabletop.
Yeah, or you could even go like 36s and 72s. The 72s, they're big, but
They're not
you know,
heavy.
if you're doing something that's 4 foot, the 72 is not going to be too big. You know, you're going to have to deal with moving it around once the clamps are on there. But I mean, we reach for the 72s a lot.
Yeah.
You're putting together a big cabinet. You want to pull the sides in.
So maybe that's what you do. You do the 6 72s and the 4 24s.
And like anything, you know, same thing that we did is we buy everything as the jobs call for them too.
Sure.
You know, so maybe it doesn't make sense to buy everything all at once. You see what you're building, and then maybe you have a plan to build a tabletop, and you go, okay, this is a good time to buy those long clamps.
You
make
need
that investment.
4 72s. You budget an extra $250 into the job, and then you buy your clamps.
Makes sense. As far as these, maybe just 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can find those at garage sales.
Yeah.
People almost giving those away.
Yeah, $5 or $10. Maybe 2 big ones. A small one's nice to keep by the drill press.
Sure. The quick grips, half a dozen. Not for you guys, of course.
I think we have 120.
We have a lot of clamps.
Yeah. I have 2 of these, and I keep saying I got to get some more of them. I got 2 exactly the same size. I reach for this all the time because it's just a nice size. It's nice and light. It's easy to use. I'll just go with a half a dozen to get started.
I keep 4 or 6 right there on the edge of my bench. You know, you grab them, and it's those 6. They disappear fast.
Yeah.
They're nice to have around. You know.
For sure. And the Bessie.
Yeah, the unclamp. I like these. You know, you could start with as few as 2. This isn't something that you probably need a lot of, these clamps. You know, they're usually, you know, if you had 4 or 6, it'd probably, because
we only have maybe 8 or 10.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So 2 or 4,
you
you're
never
good to
run out
go.
of these, you know.
Cool. I think that's some pretty good information. Unless you guys have anything else to say, I think that's basically covers the clamps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say, you know, search the want ads, you know, Facebook, Marketplace, Craigslist, all those places, especially stuff like this. These really can't go bad.
Yeah.
Even these, if you can find something like this.
Probably going to have a hard time finding that on Facebook.
Yeah.
Marketplace.
They're not. We had never heard of them before. A couple years ago.
Yeah.
I think you're going to start seeing a lot of these because I've just never used a clamp that's so easy to use, and just the fact that it's lightweight is it's a game changer for me.
Yeah.
I like them a lot.
Corey at CT Woodwork, he got turned on to these. He likes them.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
During the move, you know, Rob and Corey were the first ones to show up, and they said, "Oh, we'll start moving the clamps." And they each picked up like 6. You know, you could pick up I can literally go over there and pick up all 8 of the 24s at once and just pull them off of the rack. You know, it's.
That's a big, yeah, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
That's a good clamshell.
Cool. Let us know what you think, guys. We'll see you next time.